What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Kicking It with Crowder. This is like episode 79, I think 29 of season 2, guys. So I'm excited to bring you guys another episode. Thank you for anyone who will join the live tonight or also listen after the fact, okay? So I'm your host, Tyler Crowder, for another episode of Kicking It with Crowder, guys. Excuse me. The Final Four is set, and we have a team that went from one of the first four out to one of the last four in. So I'm very excited, guys, to bring you an episode and talk about that team tonight, the UCLA Bruins. Also, we'll talk Final Four and a lot of other things. So I'm gonna play a little bit of music like we always do. Let some other people join the conversation, and then we will get going, guys. So thank you guys so much for joining. We're going to talk San Francisco, what they should do at pick 3, why the Atlanta Falcons draft pick at number 4 is so valuable. Opening day, I got my World Series prediction coming tonight, guys. So we have a lot of stuff to break down and get into tonight. So thank you guys for joining. We got 3 people on live right now. Let's play a little bit of music. As always, don't forget to like, comment, share down below, and we'll get started here in just a second, all right? So, hope you guys are having a good night, all right? What does everyone think about San Francisco trading up? Are they going for Justin Fields, or are you getting a smoke screen with Mac Jones? What do you think they're going to do there, guys? So, it's going to be a great episode. Thank you guys, as always, for joining another episode of Kicking It with Crowder. Let's go. Also, let me know if you comment down below. Let me know who joins, because it's not showing me right now. All right. Let's get this thing rolling. Who's going to win the Final Four? Gonzaga, I guess, right? Is anyone taking a team other than Gonzaga? Let me know down below. Also, Braves are opening day tomorrow, so I'm excited for that. We're going to get into that. Get into some predictions later on in the show as well. All right, so hey, we got 5 on the live, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it started. Kicking It with Crowder, guys, begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And what's going on, everyone? And welcome to Kicking It with Crowder, another edition tonight, number 29 of season 2, 79 overall, guys. So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. If you're on the live right now, comment down below. Let me know you're watching, because sometimes it doesn't always show me. And then also, for anyone who tunes in tonight that will listen after the fact, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anything like that, guys, thank you very much, okay? So I'm your host, Tyler Crowder. The Final Four is set, and we have a team that went from last 4 in to the Final Four. The UCLA Bruins, out of the Pac-12, 11 seed, guys, have already won 5 games. Everyone else has won 4 games. UCLA's 5-0, man, and Mick Cronin, their coach, who came from Cincinnati, he gets a lot of the credit. But, at the end of the day, the players have to go out there and execute, and they've done a heck of a job. Went to overtime with Michigan State, went to overtime with Alabama. Last night knocked off Michigan in the Elite Eight. So that was a great game. They're playing that old school style of basketball where it is, they're not shooting as many threes. They're pounding in the paint. They have a guy named Riley at the paint. Also, Yuzhang, a transfer from Kentucky. So those two are their main guys. But they have a collective unit. They're a young team. So look for this team in the future also to maybe get back to another Final Four. UCLA with the big time program. John Wooden, Lou Alcindor, who is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, they have so much history, and they make their first Final Four since 2008. So shout out to the UCLA Bruins. The only bad news about them making it to the Final Four, now they have to play the Gonzaga. And that is just tough news for this UCLA team, because I'm telling you, sitting at 32-0 right now. Also won a lot of games last year. Gonzaga is a very good basketball team. They're led by a couple guys, Drew Timme and also Corey Kispert. Those are their 2 leaders. And then they also have a freshman, Jalen Suggs, who was a dual sport athlete, great quarterback. Gatorade high school football and basketball player out of the state of Minnesota. He is doing wonders for this Gonzaga team, and that's one reason I picked them to get over that hump. If they didn't have Jalen Suggs, I'm not sure if they come out of this Final Four. But, you know, Jalen Suggs is a difference for me. He's going to be a top 5 pick next year. He's a dynamic guard, 6'5", 6'4", whatever you want to say. He's a big guy who can score. He's an athlete, can get above the rim, assists, rebounds. He's averaging 14, 5, and 5 as a freshman for Gonzaga, and I really like his style and the way he plays the game of basketball. So we'll talk a little bit about that later on in the predictions for the Final Four. On the other side of the bracket, guys, we have Houston taking on Baylor. All right, and Houston making their first Final Four since 1984 when Hakeem Olajuwon and the Houston Cougars lost in the championship to Georgetown. So they're taking on Baylor, a team who hasn't been there since 1950. So you got 3 teams who haven't been there in a long time. Gonzaga was, of course, there in 17, lost in North Carolina in the championship game. So Baylor is led by Donovan Mitchell. He's also number 45 for the Baylor Bears, out of Hinesville, Georgia. Went to Auburn, transferred from Auburn to Baylor, wanted to start. Now he's the Defensive Player of the Year of the Big 12 and leading the Baylor Bears to the Final Four. Their backcourt is the difference for me. We'll talk a little bit about Baylor, Houston, and Gonzaga, UCLA later on in the show. As well, we'll also break down what the San Francisco 49ers had to give up to go all the way from 12 to 3. They give up, not only do they swap their 3 and 12 this year, they give up a first-round pick in 2022. They give up a first-round pick in 2023 and also a third-round pick in 22. So they give up 3 picks and a swap to move up 9 spots to get their quarterback. They're going to go quarterback. The question is, who do they go? Do they go Trey Lance or do they go Justin Fields? So we'll talk a bit about that a little bit later on as well. Then after that happened, the Philadelphia Eagles moved from 6 to 12 with the Dolphins. So the Dolphins now sit at 6, and they give up a first-round pick next year. So, just a lot of moving around to go. I'm not sure how many more moves we'll see, but I will tell you this right now. The Atlanta Falcons have the most valuable draft pick in all of the draft right now. Jacksonville's not moving off 1. The Jets probably will not move off of 2. And San Francisco's definitely stuck there at 3. So right now, if you want one of these 5 quarterbacks, say Carolina, Denver, Detroit, Minnesota, any of these teams, you're going to have to trade up to 4 with Atlanta. And if I was Atlanta, I would stay nowhere past 9. I would go 7, 8, or 9. Probably wouldn't trade with the Carolina Panthers. But you look at Detroit at 7. They got a new GM, new coach, may try to get someone in there to compete with Jared Goff. Then you look at the Denver Broncos. Drew Lock, he's been okay, but you don't want okay out of your franchise quarterback. And then the Carolina Panthers, Teddy Bridgewater, we'll see what happens there. But at the end of the day, I think Carolina would want to move up, but I don't think Atlanta, unless they just gave you 2 first-round draft picks, maybe a second-round draft pick this year or next year, you could possibly move back 4 spots and get maybe a Kyle Pitts, Micah Parsons, Surtain, maybe one of the offensive linemen, someone who drops. Maybe they're at 8. Someone drops every year who you don't expect. So at the end of the day, if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, I don't want to pick, there's 5 good quarterbacks. I don't want to get the last of the litter. It's like if you're going to pick out a puppy, and these people have 8 puppies, and the first 4 get chosen, or first 3 get chosen, all, the best ones, the cutest ones. Well, I don't want to get stuck with the 4th one. I want the first choice. So at the end of the day, I don't think Atlanta Falcons need to go quarterback. Kyle Pitts clearly is one of the best players in this draft. I'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show, but we'll see what happens with the Atlanta Falcons selecting at number 4. So also, guys, we'll take a deeper dive into the top 10. So I'll give you kind of a mock draft top 10 right now. No trades, just see what happens with the number 4 pick in the Atlanta Falcons. And the MLB opening day, guys, is tomorrow. I give you my division and wild card winners. I picked them last week. So this week, I will pick both wild card games in the AL and NL. Then I'll pick the division, the championship series, and I will pick a World Series champion here tonight on Kicking It with Crowder. So, guys, very excited to bring you guys that tonight. And Also, guys, don't forget to comment. I'm not seeing any notifications on comments, guys. It may just not be showing me them. So, keep them coming. I'll get to you after the show. Hopefully, it shows me them at some point. And then, guys, don't forget to comment. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share this out to more people so they can see my content. I bring this to you every week. It's, MLB, football, college football. I talk it all. Basketball, NBA, college basketball. I talk it every week, guys. I'm excited to bring you this show. So share it out so more people can see it. And then I'm also, guys, on Apple. I'm on Spotify. I'm on the iHeartRadio app. I'm also on YouTube and Twitter. So catch me there at Twitter, at Kick It With Crow, guys. So thank you guys so much for joining my show tonight. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. So let's go ahead and get started, guys, as we move on to the Final Four I just talked a little bit about. And Gonzaga, UCLA. So Gonzaga, a 1 seed, the number 1 overall seed, been number 1 all season. They're led by pretty much Drew Timme, Kispert, and Jalen Suggs. Those are their big three, as you may say, in the NBA. Thanks LeBron James and the Boston Celtics for creating that big three narrative. Now it's sometimes big four, big five, depending on who you root for. The Brooklyn Nets, of course, have every player. They may sign MJ off the street next year to try to get his 7th ring. They are deep. And if I was you, I'd put a lot of money on the Brooklyn Nets. But going back to the Final Four, Gonzaga is a well-oiled machine. One of the best teams I've seen in the last 30 years since I've been alive in 1989. And Gonzaga, they just play team basketball. They get all over you on the defensive side of the court, and then they just run up and down. They can shoot threes. They can pass. They pass very well. This is a very good passing team. Jalen Suggs, I already said, averaging 14, 5, and 5. Kind of a combo guard, can play point guard, can play shooting guard. And a hell of an athlete, was a quarterback. Very, very good quarterback. All Gatorade State Player of the Year quarterback in Minnesota. So interesting to see if he'll go pro next year. If they win the championship, he could, but also his teammate, who is the number 1 prospect in the 2021 class in basketball, has not made a decision yet. Chet, I can't remember his last name, but I know his first name's Chet. He's a 7-footer. He could go to Gonzaga. So if he goes to Gonzaga, maybe Jalen Suggs come back and they run it back one more year. But Drew Timme, he's the leader, got the mustache, the nasty throwback handlebar mustache. And then Kispert, he can shoot threes, plays D, 3-and-D guy. Let's just say, out of the 4 out of the 5 starters on Gonzaga, 4 of them were West Coast first team. So there's only one other guy in the whole conference who's on the first team joining this Gonzaga team. They're loaded, and they also have a great coach as well, who's trying to get that first, championship. So excited for Gonzaga to make it. Look out. UCLA. UCLA is a team who is playing kind of a throwback game. Don't hit very many threes. Play defense. Slow the game down a little bit. Cronin's done a great job with this team. And, 11 seed making the Final Four is, a pat on the back. But at the end of the day, I think they're going to have a hard time with this Gonzaga team who's just pretty much blowing everyone out. I think they've had 1 single-digit win the entire season, sitting at 32-0, trying to become the first team since Indiana in 1976 to go undefeated. So I'm excited to see what Gonzaga can do in the Final Four. The games are set for Saturday and Monday, so a Monday champion will be crowned again. And then in the other bracket, a very interesting game right now, Baylor and Houston. The line sitting anywhere, if you get it, 5.5 to 6 points. Baylor, led by their backcourt. Also, Coach Drew has gotten this Baylor team over the hump. He's been at Baylor a long time. And Donovan Mitchell, he is the guy for me that gets it all done defensively. He sets the tone defensively. He runs the offense. He's a great player. I've kept up with him for a while. Played at Liberty County High School in the state of Georgia. And they take on Houston team, coached by Calvin Sampson, a guy who has just anywhere he's gone. He's been at Oklahoma. He's been at Indiana. Been at a lot of programs. Had some scandal, but made it back to the Final Four. He is a really, really good coach. I like him. He's built a really good team. They're led by, I'm not going to lie, I don't know a lot of the players off of Houston, but I did watch them a little bit in this tournament, and they have a really good point guard. They play team basketball. They shoot a lot of threes. So I'm excited to see what this Baylor and Houston team can do. I like Baylor in the matchup. I also like Gonzaga, of course, over UCLA, and we'll see what happens in the matchup. It could be Gonzaga-Baylor for the championship. I know a lot of people had that, or, Gonzaga-Illinois, who got knocked out earlier in the year. So if the two number one seeds make it to the championship game, look out. I really think it'll be a great game. So that's kind of my Final Four prediction. I picked Gonzaga in my bracket. Picked them to win the national championship. Didn't get a lot else right, but I did get Gonzaga right so far. So we'll see if they can get it over the Baylor Bears. But shout out to Gonzaga, UCLA, Baylor, and Houston making it to the Final Four. Don't forget those games are on Saturday, and the championship game will be on Monday night. So I know I want to talk a little bit about NFL, guys. So I lost some followers right there talking about college basketball. Not everyone likes college basketball as much as me, but I had to get it in with the Final Four going on, guys. And NFL Draft Buzz. So last week, San Francisco, what they ended up doing was, I think Friday, San Francisco, they love one of these quarterbacks, or they're happy with any of the quarterbacks that they could get, because they move up from 12 to 3 and, basically let Jimmy Garoppolo know, hey, we're going to draft a quarterback. So, if you thought San Francisco was moving up for maybe Pitts or a tackle, or, you're just wrong on this one. They're going to get a quarterback. It's going to happen. So we'll see what San Francisco does, who they go after. There's basically 3 choices, because Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson are probably 95% going to go number 1 and number 2. So with number 3 pick, you either have Justin Fields, quarterback Ohio State, quarterback Trey Lance, North Dakota State, and you have a Mac Jones, very accurate quarterback out of Alabama, national champion last year. Okay, so those are the 3 quarterbacks you have to choose from. So Justin Fields, you have the freak athlete at his size, running running a 40 under 4.4. That's special. He showed a lot of arm talent that I already knew he had. Been a winner at Ohio State. Played in a national championship game, made it to the college football playoff last year. You could go with him. You could use his tools. Maybe sit him for a year behind Garoppolo. Boom, you got a bona fide starter in the NFL with Justin Fields. Could be a top 5 quarterback in the league one day. Then you have a Trey Lance, who is he has a lot of tools. Guy is a great athlete. Lit it up last year in 2019 at North Dakota State. Dad was a fringe NFL player, so almost made it to the NFL, maybe got into some camps, but didn't kind of make it, didn't have a career out of it per se. And then, he's very toolsy. He can run. He ran for over 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns last year, threw 28 touchdowns, no picks. Could possibly use a year to sit. Or you go with Mac Jones, a guy who, led this Alabama football team to the national championship this year, throwing to some great receivers in Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, also had a great running game with Najee Harris. Here's the thing. Mac Jones doesn't have as many tools as either of those quarterbacks, but he's very accurate, he's very cerebral, and he's very, very, he's a competitor. Competed with Jalen Hurts, competed with Tua the last 4 years at Alabama. Not scared to compete. The guy isn't going to have a six-pack and run a 4.4 and throw the ball 70 yards. That's not what he is, but he's a very smart quarterback. I feel like he's very accurate, and accuracy is the number one thing I look for translating to the NFL level. And Mac Jones is going to be a good quarterback now. It's hard to watch some of his film because guys were just so wide open, and he never really got touched. Had a great offensive line. Steve Sarkisian called it, pretty much perfect game plan the entire season, and everything just clicked, and it just worked for Mac Jones this season. I can't hold that against Mac Jones. Film doesn't lie, and he put out some good film this year. But if we're going to talk about San Francisco at 3, so guys, here's my top 10 picks. I'm going to give you the number 1 pick, Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm sure you've already heard that, okay? Trevor Lawrence going to Jacksonville, team up with Urban Meyer. We'll see what he does if they put some weapons around him and can protect him. Number 2 pick, this is a guy I really like, Zach Wilson, okay, guys? Zach Wilson can make all the throws out there. Had a phenomenal year this year. Over 65% completion, 40 yards down the field, and he has 54 attempts. Can make any throw in the book. Also is a very twitchy athlete. Can make some of these Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen throws. Very an explosive player as well. I feel like, at this time, the new GM just wants to get his guy. They're going to get Zach Wilson. They're going to trade Sam Darnold maybe for a 3rd, 4th round pick. and then they're just going to move on from him. So you got Lawrence first, you got Zach Wilson second, and here's where the draft starts, guys. And, you can talk Mac Jones, you can talk Trey Lance at 3, and if you believe the smoke screen with Mac Jones, you can believe it, but I saw with my own eyes this week, Justin Fields put on a performance at Pro Day, which was really, really good. I don't look too much into Pro Days, but right now with, no combine and, just being able to meet with some of these players and everything, Mac Jones is going to be a first-round pick, probably going to be a top 8 pick, 9 pick, top 12 pick. Nothing against Mac Jones. I like Mac Jones, very accurate passer, but he doesn't stack up against a quarterback like Justin Fields to me with what you're looking for a quarterback in 2021. It's just not there. There's no way I could move up 9 spots, give up 2 first-round draft picks, and then draft Mac Jones. I just do not see that happening. Justin Fields will be the pick for the San Francisco 49ers at 3. If he's not, then the Falcons need to do everything in their power to trade with one of those teams 7, 8, and 9 and get as much as you possibly can to move back 4, 5, 6 spots. And then you get your guy there and you get all these first-round draft picks. And here's another thing with the Falcons at 4. You get all these draft picks, guess what you can do? You can move back into this year's draft and get a player like Ojulari from UGA. Or you can get possibly a corner, Caleb Fairley from Virginia Tech. You want to go running back and get a power runner for this Arthur Smith scheme, you go and get you a Najee Harris. I mean, the possibilities are endless. If you think Pitts is your guy at 4, or if one of these quarterbacks, Lance, Jones, Fields, whatever, is at 4, you pick him. But at the end of the day, if I'm Terry Fontenot and I'm Arthur Smith and I'm trying to build my own team, and I know I have a lot of holes on this roster, limited cap space, I'm going to try to build for the next 3 years with Matt Ryan and his restructured contract. Julio Jones at the end of his career with the Atlanta Falcons. Try to win with what you got. Put some weapons around these guys and then try to build this defense. Defense. I understand if you want to pick a Kyle Pitts or one of these offensive players in the first round, but a lot of these picks need to be on the defensive side of the football. We need to address the safety position, the cornerback position. Also, the defensive line, outside, pass rusher. We need that. I mean, we need so many things. Possibly could use another guard. Possibly could use a running back. At the end of the day, I just don't see the Atlanta Falcons picking a quarterback at 4. Try to trade out, but if they stay right now with how I have it right now, I'm going Kyle Pitts, the freak athlete out of the University of Florida, 3-year starter at Florida, had 8 touchdowns this year. Missed some times because of a concussion. Ran a 4.44 today at his size, 73-inch wingspan. I mean, the guy is just, to me, he's the best player outside of a quarterback in the entire draft. And if you like Travis Kelce, and you like picking him every year like me in fantasy, and you like, man, I want a weapon like that on my team, Kyle Pitts is that guy. And if the Atlanta Falcons can have him for 10 years, you go ahead and pick him right now. You give Matt Ryan that security blanket that he had earlier in his career with Tony Gonzalez, and you move on. You turn that pick in very quickly if you stay at 4. If you trade out of 4, there's a possibility you may get him at 7, 8, or 9. So we'll see what happens with the Atlanta Falcons. They have the most valuable pick in the entire NFL draft. New GM, new coach. You got to go out there and do something with it, fellas. And I trust what they'll do. I really do. Whatever they do, I'm not going to be one of these fans that hate. I'm going to root for the Atlanta Falcons, no matter who they pick at 4. The Cincinnati Bengals at 5. You hear Kyle Pitts' name come up. You hear Jamar Chase's name come up at 5 with the Cincinnati Bengals. At the end of the day, you draft a guy number 1 last year. He gets hurt this year, tears up his leg. You got to protect him. And no better prospect than to protect him with than Penei Sewell, offensive tackle or guard. You're probably not going to play him at guard. You're going to probably play him at tackle out of Oregon, the Outland Trophy winner from 2019. Gave up like 2 sacks in his career. He's a heck of a player. I wouldn't mind the Atlanta Falcons picking him. Could see him going anywhere from 4 to 7, 4 to 8 in this draft, but Sewell is a really, really good prospect, and I think he's going to do wonders in the NFL. So Bengals, you got the blue chip prospect in Joe Burrow. Now go ahead and protect him because I really feel like Higgins and Boyd and Mixon and some of these other guys on offense can carry the load. So go get you some protection for Joe Burrow. So the Dolphins, guys, the Eagles were at 6. Now the Dolphins are at 6, and they're going to go ahead and turn this pick in as quick as possible. If Jamar Chase is still there at 6. Jamar Chase today ran a 4.38. Also had, the 1,800 yards, 20 touchdowns in 2019. Teamed up with Burrow. 6 foot, 202 pounds. Expect him to be probably close to 210 come the season. This is a guy who's very fluid in and out of his breaks, has great hands, has like a 40-inch vert. So even though he's small, it's okay. He can still go up and get it. I like Chase to team up and give Tua Tagovailoa that weapon that he needs. And then also the Dolphins pick at 18 as well. So this is a very important draft for the Miami Dolphins. I want to see maybe them get Chase and then maybe another offensive lineman to protect Tua, because you can never have too many security guards up front. The Detroit Lions, guys, this is very interesting to me. I feel like you got to go wide receiver here. They lost Kenny Galladay. Also have lost Marvin Jones. And, Jared Goff, you got to go. If you want Jared Goff to be successful and you're going to go with him, you got to get him some weapons. And you have 2 really good weapons to choose from here out of Alabama, Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle. Do you want a speedster who can push the ball, who can push, get over the top on the secondary, and also it can probably give you some punt returns, some yardage as well. And he's a freaky athlete, very twitchy, coming off the injury. You have Jalen Waddle, or you have a Devontae Smith, a guy who just set the world on fire last year, won the Heisman Trophy for the Alabama Crimson Tide last year. Very, very productive year this year. Had like over 100 catches, close to 18 touchdowns on the season. The guy is just phenomenal. I know he's 6'1". Like Devontae Smith should be the choice there at 7 for the Detroit Lions. Coming in at number 8, the Panthers, they have Matt Rule. They drafted all defense last year. They have Teddy Bridgewater. At the end of the day, you could go quarterback. You could go some other positions here, maybe a corner with how the draft's panning out. Maybe you go get a linebacker to replace Luke Kuechly in Micah Parsons. But at the end of the day, Mac Jones, I feel like, is the pick here at 8 if he slides all the way to 8 and the Panthers stay at 8. I feel like Mac Jones will be the pick for the Carolina Panthers. And coming from a Falcons fan, if I don't have to see Justin Fields playing for the Panthers like I had to see Cam Newton playing for the Panthers, I'll be all right with that. Mac Jones, I feel like him and Joe Brady could do some nice things in this league, and I feel like that's not a bad landing spot for Mac Jones. Coming in at number 9, my 5th quarterback in the top 9 right now, Trey Lance. Very toolsy guy from North Dakota State. I talked about him a little bit earlier in the show. I feel like Denver's got to address the quarterback situation. Haven't really been able to lock that position down ever since Peyton Manning retired. Trey Lance could be that answer. Start the season with Drew Lock, see what you have at the end of the season with Trey Lance. This Denver Broncos team's probably not going to be in the playoffs next year. They need to rebuild this roster. Could also see Denver go cornerback as well. And then coming in with my number 10 pick, this is a team who, needs to rebuild the secondary, the Dallas Cowboys, guys. And you basically have some really good corners on the board right now. You have Pat Surtain out of Alabama, J.C. Horn out of South Carolina, and Caleb Fairley out of Virginia Tech. Out of those 3 guys, I am a Patrick Surtain fan. I really like his closing speed. No one really threw his way in college because he was just that good. I'm not sure if you guys saw him at his pro day, but the guy looks like an NFL cornerback. He's huge. He's ripped. He's 6'2". I feel like he's close to 200 pounds. And, the guy runs like a gazelle out there. He's a physical guy. Will get in your face. He doesn't really talk a lot. Lets his play do the talking. Feel like he'd be a great fit for Jerry Jones and the Cowboys at 10, guys. So, hey, please let me know what you think about that top 10, guys. That's my Kicking with Crowder top 10 right now. And then some interesting storylines going on in the NFL with San Francisco at 3 and Atlanta at 4, guys. So, guys, let me know what you think down below about that top 10, guys. And then MLB opening day. All right, so before we get out of here, I want to talk a little bit of baseball. And the MLB opening day is tomorrow. Opening day really should be like a paid holiday. and why it's not, I really do not know. I feel like everyone should have off opening day. They need to go ahead and make that jump by and do something good, man, and make that a national holiday. And the Atlanta Braves, guys, my team, the Atlanta Braves, I got to throw it up real quick, are playing at Philadelphia. Max Fried versus Aaron Nola should be a really good game. That first pitch is set for 12:05 p.m. on ESPN Plus. If you have the ESPN Plus app like me, you can watch the game. If not, I'm sure you can stream it somewhere else. Toronto, guys, will take on New York. Cleveland at Detroit at 10 o'clock. Baltimore, Boston, 11:10. Minnesota at Milwaukee, 11:10. Pittsburgh at Chicago. And then you go around, you have the World Series champion and Clayton Kershaw will face off against Colorado Rockies at 1:10. And then you'll have St. Louis, Cincinnati at 1:10, Tampa Bay, Miami at 1:10, Texas, Kansas City at 1:10. And then at ESPN at 4 o'clock, New York at Washington, DeGrom versus Scherzer. That'll be a great one. And then Chicago, White Sox at Los Angeles Angels. Giolito versus Bundy. That should be a good matchup. And then they close it out on ESPN. At Houston Astros take on the Oakland A's and Jordan Weems at 7:07. So, and then to end the day, San Francisco at Seattle, opening day, guys, 2021. They will have fans in the stands. I think it's still limited capacity, but there will be fans in the stands this year in Major League Baseball, guys. So I'm really, really excited to bring y'all the opening day next week with some of the results. And I wanted to give you guys my picks. So last week I picked the division winners, and I also picked the wild card winners. So in the NL East, guys, coming out of the NL, in the East, I had the Atlanta Braves. Out of the West, I had the LA Dodgers. And then out of the Central, I had the St. Louis Cardinals. And then both wild card spots, I had in wild card 1, the San Diego Padres, and then in wild card 2, the New York Mets. So I wanted to go ahead and pick some of these games. So I'm going to have the Padres defeating the Mets in the wild card game, and we'll have the Braves Padres in one matchup versus the Dodgers and Cardinals in the other. And I feel like this is going to be a really good series. Braves versus Padres both have a great pitching staff. Both have a couple stars, Machado and Tatis versus, Acuna and Albies. So, and Freddie Freeman, of course. Ozuna, of course. We have the top 4. I think we have the top 1 through 4 lineup in all of baseball versus the Padres and some of these guys that they've got, Yu Darvish and some of these other pitchers that they brought over. Feel like it's going to be a really good series. Mike Soroka for me is the difference coming off that Achilles. He'll be in the starting rotation this year if the Braves make it to the playoffs. And I'm going Braves in 5. 3-2 series win over the Padres to face the Dodgers, who are going to probably beat the St. Louis Cardinals in my prediction 3-1. And we're going to have a rematch, Braves-Cardinals in the NLCS, guys. I'll give you that pick and my World Series pick next week. And then with the AL, I want to talk a little bit about the AL real quick before we get out of here. So in the AL, guys, I had the Yankees coming out of the East, the A's coming out of the West, the White Sox coming out of the Central, and then I had wild card 1 by the Blue Jays and wild card 2 by the Astros. I'm going to go Astros defeating the Blue Jays in the first wild card matchup. So basically in the AL, we'll have the Yankees versus the Astros in the first round. Ooh, that'll be a good one. And then we have the A's versus the White Sox, which will be another great matchup in the ALDS. I'm going Yankees against the Astros in this one, and I'm going White Sox and Tony La Russa. I feel like the White Sox are very much improved this year. They made the playoffs last year. Weren't able to win the World Series or get to the World Series, but they learned a valuable lesson last year, getting some of that postseason exposure. So I'll have the White Sox versus the Yankees in the ALCS, and I'll have a rematch of last year's NLCS, Braves versus the Dodgers. And here's the thing for me. The Dodgers are coming off. I'll go ahead and make the pick this week. Why wait till next week? Let's go ahead and make these picks. We got 6 people on the live, guys. Thank y'all for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button down below. Don't forget to share, and don't forget to comment down below, guys. So I want to get into my picks, guys. So I'm going Braves, Dodgers, Yankees, White Sox, and it boils down to me, the Braves. If if Mike Soroka can stay healthy and be healthy in the postseason, along with Max Fried, Ian Anderson, Charlie Morton, I really like the Braves' chances versus Dodgers team who already tasted the success, their first World Series since 1988. The Dodgers have been known to choke in the postseason, as well as the Atlanta Braves. So both teams, are up and down in the postseason. The Atlanta Braves did get their first postseason series victory last year when they defeated the Marlins in the first round. So they tasted a little bit success. And I remember Freddie Freeman and watching him in the post game last year after they lost to the Dodgers, and he just said, "Man, I wish we could just tomorrow would be next season." And I feel like this Braves team is going to be very motivated. They got Azuña back. They got Acuna. They got Albies. They got Freddie Freeman. So a healthy Soroka, the bullpen. Will Smith and those guys in the bullpen can get it done. I like the Braves' chances versus the Dodgers. I know they have Trevor Bauer and Kershaw, but Kershaw is getting on up there. Also, they lost Rue to the Blue Jays. So at the end of the day, I really feel like the Braves can beat the Dodgers. So I'm picking the Braves to get to the World Series. You can call it a homer pick, but I'm really, I'm calling it like I see it. I think when you win a World Series, it's really hard to get back to the World Series. And I'm going Braves over the Dodgers. And then we'll go White Sox versus Yankees. I feel like this White Sox team is very, very good. And also the Yankees, I feel like who's their second best pitcher after Garrett Cole? If they can maybe add another guy at the deadline to come in and pick. They lost Tanaka. They also have some other guys who are injured right now. But you have Aaron Judge and you have a DJ LeMahieu in a very good lineup with the Yankees. But I don't know. Something's just telling me to go with the White Sox and that great outfield they have. Jose Abreu coming off an MVP. They also have Giolito, should be one of the top AL Cy Young picks. So I really like this White Sox team, and I'm going White Sox, Braves, World Series, guys. So that is my pick. That is my prediction for the World Series. I will give you my pick next week for the World Series Championship. I'm going to go ahead and poll some people. First, I want to give a poll maybe out on my Kicking It With Crowder Twitter and my Facebook page of this is my matchup prediction, and let you guys pick the World Series champion, since you guys know I'm going to pick the Atlanta Braves. So I may leave it up to the fans to decide. But guys, I really enjoyed bringing this show to you tonight. It felt like a great show. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, guys. Please, if you haven't already, if you're a new listener or if you come across this after the fact, if you haven't already, guys, please give my Facebook page, Kicking It With Crowder, a like. We're almost up to 1,000 likes and follows, guys, on there. So definitely want to get there before middle of the summer to 1,000 likes, guys. I really appreciate it, guys. Don't forget to also follow me on Apple. I'm on Spotify, YouTube. You can subscribe on YouTube. I'm also on Twitter. Give me a follow on Twitter at Kick It With Crow. And man, you can basically find me anywhere. I'll be having I'll be doing some radio shows for Fox Sports 1400 in Columbia, South Carolina in the next coming weeks before the draft. So I have my top 100 draft prospects out, my mock drafts out, guys. Be sure to check all that out. And I'm really, really excited to keep giving you content up until the draft, and then we may take a little break before the NBA playoffs start. But man, jam-packed show. Thank you guys so much for joining. The comments weren't working. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I may have turned the comments off, but thank you guys. We had a lot of people on the live the entire show, and if you listen to it after the fact, man, I really appreciate it, guys. So Kicking It With Crowder, subscribe, like, comment. I'll do all that down below, guys. And thank y'all so much for joining me tonight. As always, I'm out. Let's go.